So wild card weekend has concluded. We have the divisional round coming up. For the 6 games last week were 16 points or more in terms of margin of victory. Only 2 games, the Cowboys, Niners, and Bengals, Raiders. Those were the only 2 games that were within 15 points. Usually we see a lot of very, very tight wild card games. Usually wild card weekend is the week of the unexpected. Last year we saw 4 of the 6 road teams win. This year, not so much. This year, 5 of the 6 home teams caught a victory. And of course, the home team that didn't catch a victory was my very own Cowboys. But we have to move on to the divisional round without my favorite team. You guys are probably happy because y'all probably hate the Cowboys. Let's start off with the first game on Saturday. We've Bengals at Titans. And I made a video about 2 weeks ago talking about why I think the Titans are one and done. I think they're absolutely a team that just doesn't have the quarterback, doesn't have the roster to compete with any of these AFC teams. Well, I'm about to contradict myself. I love what Joe Burrow has done. I do. Joe Burrow might throw for 800 yards on Saturday. He really might. I don't know who in that Titans secondary is going to be able to slow him down. If you go and watch my video on the Titans I made a couple weeks ago, Janoris Jenkins and Christian Fulton, a 33-year-old and a second-round corner out of 2020, are their 2 corners. They're Caleb Farley, their rookie first-rounder, ACL done for the year. And their 2 starting corners from a year ago left in free agency. So they are very depleted in the back end. And I did say that the Titans were a fraud, if that's the term you want to use, 1 seed, heading into the playoffs for the AFC side of things. That being said, when I looked into this matchup, the Titans really do match up well with the Bengals. Their pass rush, they're top 10 in efficiency in the NFL this season in pass rush and front 7 sustainability, but the Bengals are a bottom half offensive line. So what that says is that the Titans are going to pressure Joe Burrow. That's how they can prevent him from throwing for 800 yards. And I will accept the fact that Joe Burrow is going to throw for maybe a mile on Saturday. But guess who's back? Number 22 for the Titans. You might have heard of him. He goes by King Henry. He is the best running back in the NFL. He's coming back after surgery for the first time, I believe he hasn't touched the field in like 11 weeks or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, he's back, and I think the Titans have a very, very good chance to win this game by dominating time of possession and forcing Joe Burrow to play from behind. And this is the healthiest we've seen the Titans all year. Derrick Henry's back, like I just said. AJ, Brown, Julio, Jones. They're as healthy as they've been all year. And Mike Vrabel, my coach of the year, is going to have his team ready like he has all year. They have had a worse roster than the Rams. I would say the Colts twice, the Bills and the Chiefs, and they won all those games. Mike Vrabel, coach of the year. So all that being said, I think the Titans win 30-27. I think they dominate time of possession, maybe up near like 38 minutes to 22 minutes, establishing that ground game, play action like they have done all year. Now with a healthy Derrick Henry, that just adds another X factor for the Bengals defense to deal with. I don't think this Titans team is a great 1 seed, but the Bengals, I just think they are a couple, maybe a year or 2, I would say, away from being a true Super Bowl contender. A few pieces in their back end on defense, and then a few offensive line pieces away from being a true contender. They had a great run this year. They won their division, a very tough division. They won a playoff game. I just think you go to Tennessee, Vrabel's going to have his team ready. They're going to be the more physical football team. They got a weeks of rest. I like the Titans in a very close one, contradicting everything I said a couple weeks ago. I think the Titans win this game 30-27. Let's talk 49ers-Packers, the Saturday night game. Niners are 3-0 versus Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. 3-0. Never lost to him. Most of the time that they've played, the Niners have had the better roster. But one thing we know tried and true about Green Bay this year is they will just overwhelm you in the turnover category. They're second in the league at a plus 13 margin in turnovers. They've gotten 13 more turnovers than they've given up. So they will absolutely obliterate you in that category. And I think this is what's going to determine this game. Because the Niners are 7-0 when Jimmy G doesn't throw an interception. The Packers, like the Cowboys, I said this last week ahead of the Cowboys-Niners game, Cowboys get a lot of picks, so if Jimmy G throws a pick, I think the Cowboys win. He did throw a pick, and the Cowboys didn't win, so I was wrong in that category. But Aaron Rodgers is a different beast. If Jimmy G throws a turnover, an interception, or a couple turnovers, I don't think this game's going to be relatively close because the Packers are just so consistent on offense. They don't turn the ball over. They get turnovers. Aaron Rodgers is the most efficient quarterback in NFL history. I believe Brady's the best, but Rodgers is the most efficient. He doesn't throw interceptions. And Davante Adams, he had 12 catches, 132 yards, and a tutty the last time these two teams played in Week 3 in San Francisco. I don't see how in the world he doesn't have another one of these type of games. The Niners have a deep secondary, but they have nobody that can come close to guarding Davante Adams. I think the Packers run away with this thing 34-19. The Packers have dominated the NFC this year. They really have. And that was without all-pro left tackle David Bakhtiari, one of the best corners, Jair Alexander, and one of the best pass rushers, Za'Darius Smith. And they are all expected to return on Saturday night. So I have the Packers winning by 15. All right. This is a game that I went really insane mentally with. I went back and forth on this maybe 20 times, and I might even go back and forth by the time I even predicted out loud on this video. Rams at Bucks. Man, I don't know what to do with this game because let me just compare the teams. The Buccaneers have the better quarterback. The Rams have the better running backs. The offensive weapons, pass catchers, go to the Rams, Cooper Kupp, OBJ. They are better than just Mike Evans alone. The offensive line, if there's no Tristan Wirfs, I say the Rams O-line has a slight edge. I think it's very close, though, to great offensive lines. Front seven, who has the better front seven? I don't know. They are both absolutely loaded. Aaron Donald, Von Miller. And then on the Buccaneers, they have Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Devin White, Levante David. I mean, they're both absolutely loaded, so I don't know who to pick in that category. The secondary easily goes to the Rams, though. So when you look at it, the only thing I can truly say the Bucs have better at position-wise than the Rams is the quarterback. And it's not by an insane margin. Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback. Should have been a Pro Bowl quarterback. And let's look at their previous matchup this year. The Rams won 24-34. They really dominated this game. They did. From start to finish, it was the Rams' ball game to lose. But I can almost give the Bucs a little pass on that game because what was the game after that game? Oh, that's right. They went to New England. It was Brady versus Belichick. So, Tom Brady during Rams week was already getting tons and tons of interviews on the next week against his former team for 20 years, the Patriots. So Tom Brady's mind was, you already know, was all over the place during that Tampa Rams game. He was already focused on New England. I'll give him a pass in that category. This matchup is different because it's in Tampa Bay. The last one was in LA. After going back and forth, I have the Rams winning 29-28. And I'm probably going to end up looking like a fool. There's a good chance I will. Against Brady, you just don't bet against him in the playoffs. You don't. He's now 32-11 in the postseason, or 36-11. I was like Bill Belichick. I was thinking about his stats. No, Tom Brady is 36-11 in the postseason. Remarkable. The Rams' time is now. I mean, you go out and get all these players being super aggressive. They're a very hyper-aggressive franchise this year. I mean, who else but Sean McVay wants to get as much talent as they can. That's what the Rams have been this year, going out and acquiring Matthew Stafford, Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, you name it, and they have gotten, that X factor player. The Rams' time is now, and when I look at it, no Chris Godwin, no AB. I think Jalen Ramsey can do very well with Mike Evans, and Tom Brady's going to have to be throwing to a bunch of practice squad players to beat this Rams defense. It's going to be very, 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 very tough. Rams by a point. Don't know how I feel about it, but this is the Rams' time. Matthew Stafford finally gets a chance. This roster is as loaded as any. Very hyper-aggressive franchise. Rams by a point. All right, let's talk Bills-Chiefs. This is the rematch of last year's AFC Championship, and I believe it is this year's AFC Championship. Even though it's in the divisional round, I believe the winner of this game will go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think it'll be close. Both quarterbacks have been playing unbelievably lately. We saw them in Wild Card Weekend. They each threw 5 touchdowns against their opponents, respectfully. But one key for the Bills that they don't have in this game that they had in their week, I believe it was 5 matchup, is Tre'Davious White. They don't have Tre'Davious White. He is one of the league's best man-to-man corners. He's usually guarding Tyreek Hill. No Tre'Davious White. It's going to be a tough ask for this Buffalo defense. They got Mahomes' number back in October. But has any team ever been able to just whittle down and just decimate Mahomes like the Bills have, like the Bills did last game twice in the same season? No. Brady's the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes twice in the same season. It was in 2018, his MVP season. And even in the time that the first matchup that Brady and Mahomes had, Patrick Mahomes still put up 40 points, but Brady put up 43 on a last-second field goal. So it's impossible to stop Mahomes twice a year. And then when they play in the AFC Championship, the Chiefs still put up 31. So it's a tough ask to have a defense like the Bills do what they did to Mahomes in October. Ask them to do it again. With no Tre'Davious White, I think this is going to be a very, very high-scoring game because we're seeing 2 of the league's best quarterbacks taking the field on the same day. Just the pressure built up on each other. I like the Chiefs 41-31. Very, very high-scoring game. I see the Chiefs pulling away late. Don't see the Bills and Josh Allen out-dueling Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs twice in the same season. Just don't see it. So those are my predictions. I have Chiefs by 10, Rams by 1, Packers by 15, Titans by 3. The rest of our team's picks will be up on our socials, on Instagram, on TikTok. Make sure you guys go follow that out at Sports Unfolded Pod. I have Chiefs, Titans in the AFC Championship and Packers, Rams in the NFC Championship. Still don't know how I feel about that Rams-Tampa game. Sometimes you got to take risks. I'm taking Rams by a point. It's going to be a fun weekend.